There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for.
Evening, everyone, and greetings to our very first. Now, you're going to be the ones, if you're watching this, you're the first person who is going to be watching this channel. We're starting with 0 followers. We got nothing. Okay, just you. And we got a novel idea here. And again, this might be our first installment of this channel, and that might be it, but it's up to you. If you give us feedback, you like the idea, which we're going to tell you what it is in a couple of minutes. If you like the idea, subscribe, share it with your friends. And so get to the chase here, cut to the chase. The show is called Heaven and Hell, a classic rock and heavy metal reflection of the virtues, the virtues of our beloved music. So tonight, and I'm going to explain that further, and I'm going to introduce my co-host in a couple of minutes here. I'm from New York, and my co-host is, and I'll tell you who he is in a second, from Arizona. But tonight, just to whet your appetite, we're going to be looking at Heaven and Hell by Sabbath, I Don't Know by Ozzy, Stairway to Heaven by Zepp, and Allies, excuse me, by Heart. And After Forever by Sabbath also. And time allowing, we're going to dabble. I don't think we'll make it tonight, but we'll see. Highway to Hell by AC/DC and The Best of Both Worlds by Van Halen, Sammy Hagar era. And but before we get there, I'm your host, my number one host here, okay, before I get to my co-host. And what am I? I'm a wannabe heavy metal drummer. My name is Scott, who never made it. And my co-host is Timothy Gaines. He's a heavy metal bass player who did make it. And we'll let him talk about that in the middle, and you can figure out for yourself. But a little bit about me, then I'm going to turn it over to Timothy Gaines. My life growing up, grew up. My first introduction to metal was Black Sabbath. I got it on an 8-track tape. That first album with the rain and the thunder. We used to play it, me and my friends, to get everybody afraid. And when I heard that, I got it for Christmas from my sister's boyfriend. When I heard that, I was just hooked. I'm a Sabbath head. When I was in high school, you could ask anybody, okay, my nickname, people didn't even know my name was Scott. It was Ozzy. That's what people called me, because I was just like over the top Sabbath guy. And you asked me about bands like that, especially Sabbath. You know what? I mean, if they had a fan club, I would have been the president of it. I'm, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, Ozzy Osbourne, the original singer, founded in 1970. They used to be called Earth. It came from Birmingham. I mean, I followed them heavy, bought every album back in the day. So I grew up Sabbath. Okay? I grew up Sabbath, and that led to Priest and Scorpions and other bands like that. So that's my love and my passion, and from back then. So that's who I am. I still play drums. I got a big heavy metal Tama drum set that I play in the basement for no one to hear. And I play along with Dio, Sabbath, Zeppelin, and classic stuff too. So that's me. Tim from Arizona, tell us about yourself.
I'm Timothy Gaines, and my introduction to heavy metal, I guess, if I can think back that far, was also probably Black Sabbath. And my sister had a copy of Master of Reality. And so we put that on. That was like the heaviest thing I think I heard back in the 70s.
Was heavy.
Yeah. And From there, just growing up in the 70s, we listened to all kinds of music, whatever was on the radio. But I think the harder stuff that we listened to, of course, there was Sabbath, Led Zeppelin. Um, as I got into high school, AC/DC and Judas Priest and bands like that. And of course, there was the other stuff, that was popular to Aerosmith and Queen. And, there was more melodic bands like Foreigner and Boston and so on and so forth. So, that's for a kid, in junior high school age. That was it for me. And of course, I wanted to be in a band, and I picked up bass guitar after my failed attempt at guitar. I actually just felt bass more than I could feel the guitar. I just, I gravitated towards the bass and the rhythm section, the drums and bass. So thought it'd be a really cool way to get girls when I was a kid to be popular.
Absolutely.
Playing a rock band. So, that's what I did, and early 80s came around, and the band I was in was called Striper, and we ended up getting a record deal. Instead of doing the normal devil kind of stuff, we kind of went in a different route, and we gave the message of Jesus Christ in our music. And so we took that in a different direction. But and then we got famous and popular and so on and so forth. And so that was it for me back in the day.
Okay. So what we want to do, and it's an honor to have you with us, Tim, is we want to take the high road here when it comes to heavy metal music and classic rock, as people are always very quick to point out the evil, the bad, the ugly. But we want to do something different here. We want to take the high road, put all that darkness aside, uh, and look for the good, the godly, even the biblical in some of this stuff? Is it possible?
Mm.
Uh, can it be found in our beloved music and songs? Uh, and just so you guys know, I'm the real deal. I painted when I was, kid, painted my room black. I had 666 on the walls in my room. I had an altar, I had a skull. I was way out there, man. And so I'm speaking from experience. I'm not a poser here. I'm not a poser. And I knew, I was a big defender of metal music and classic rock music, massive record collection. But getting back to this, can there be some truths in some of the stuff that we really love? I love the musicians, drummers, especially. My favorite guitar player is Randy Rhoads. Absolutely, I'm just head over heels about Randy Rhoads. Breaks my heart that he died. I saw Randy Rhoads in concert. I consider myself very lucky to be able to see him before he passed. But anyway, tonight. Timothy and I are going to go back and forth, and we're going to do this unusual thing. And you guys and girls out there are either going to hate it or you're going to love it. We're going to pick apart some classic rock and metal songs and see how much of the words are actually true. And maybe I mean, you're going to be surprised. Is there even some stuff here that's maybe even in the Bible? So we're going to start off with our keynote song, our opening song from the opening theme, Heaven and Hell. And I did see I was still a fan when Dio took over, and I saw them with Dio, and uh, I was skeptical after Ozzy left, but I fell in love with Dio. So anyway, Heaven and Hell, and now Geezer, the bass player for Sabbath, used to write all the lyrics. When Ronnie James Dio took over, he took over the job of writing the lyrics. So this song, Heaven and Hell, I remember getting the album and had the angels on the front smoking cigarettes. I get the imagery there.
Right.
So uh, I have the words to all these songs we're gonna go over tonight. And Dio starts with, "Sing me a song, you're a singer. do me a wrong and you're a bringer of evil. The devil is never a maker, and the less that you give, you're a taker. And I thought it was interesting right off the bat. Uh, for do me a wrong, you're a bringer of evil. We find that concept in the Gospel of Matthew 6:13. The devil was never a maker. John 8:44. Jesus says, "You of your father, the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he abode not in the truth. There is no truth in him. Everything he speaks is a lie, and he speaks for his own. He's the liar and the father of it." And it goes on and on. Then it says in going down, the lover of life is not a sinner. John 15:13. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. And that's what the Bible says that Jesus did. And I'm gonna let Tim. You want to add anything? I got a couple of notes on this. What do you see in those words?
Yeah, no, I see that also. Lover of life is not a sinner. That, the lover of life is God. He is definitely not a sinner.
May not have
Uh,
seen it.
Definitely not. He loved us so much, John 3:16, that
Yeah.
he gave his son for us, so that we could live, have eternal life. So the ending is just a beginning. That's going to be the next line. This
Great
life is just
words. Yeah.
a vapor. It's
Yeah.
temporary. As we go from this life, we enter the next into eternity. So, there's truth there. It's a matter of where
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
spend
Absolutely.
eternity. That's the other thing.
I love, the ending is just the beginning. The closer you get to the meaning. And I love if we go down. Now I see Dio throws in fool, fool, and I'm assuming he's saying, you're a fool if you don't understand the truth. And he says, for every moment of truth, there's confusion in life. Again, getting back to John 8:44. Uh, the enemy of God, he brings confusion. He brings confusion, and that's what he does. I love it. It goes on in, I know in the, I think one of the breaks, the bridge, the world is full of kings and queens. Don't we know that? Psalm 118, verse 9. Uh, they God and it goes on, who blind your eyes and steal your dreams. And reading Psalm 118, verse 9, don't put your trust in kings and leaders and stuff like that. Only trust in God. So that's, wow, pretty cool. And I like when they say, and they'll tell you that black is really white. The moon is just the sun at night. And it's in the Bible, it speaks about that which is right is wrong, and that which is wrong is right. Anything else to add to that, Tim?
Yeah.
Or anything you
I mean,
see?
also, if I remember right, and it's been a while, but I think he wrote these words in regard to the music business in general, if that makes
Oh,
any
I didn't
sense
know
also.
that. Okay, a little trivia.
So,
I'm
excuse me.
ashamed. I didn't know
So,
that.
well, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of us that wanted to get into the music business, and the dark side of the music business is really, the world is full of kings and queens, these rulers, these people high up in this business who they basically use you as pawns,
Yeah,
for their
yeah,
purpose. So um, you've got to bleed for the dancer.
yeah, yeah.
So anyways,
Wow.
that's a little bit of what I remembered
Oh
about
no,
it.
that makes sense. It actually, I didn't know where Dio was going with it. Now you say that, it makes sense. I know Sabbath did a lot of songs like that. They really got messed around with their, you know, producers and stuff like that.
Mm,
So a lot of songs like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath was about, and the Writ on the Sabotage album. These were all things that they got screwed over from their managers and lost
mm,
money. So they would write into their songs a lot of their anger. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is just about the brutality of management and stuff like that, and left them
right.
all bloodied. The Writ is a really heavy song on Sabotage, where it was like they had they were just musicians and they had to sign all these contracts and papers. They didn't know what they were doing. They're just excited to be,
Yeah.
and they realize they're signing away their money, their lives.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I'm sure you can attest to that, Tim, in that world.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've had friends that have even gone further than just to sign the dotted line on the record contract. I've had friends that have done the ritual and sold their souls to Satan so that they
Wow.
could
Oh,
make it,
yeah,
and with many regrets afterwards.
yeah, yeah. It's a sad tale. We're gonna go to the next song. I don't know, from Ozzy, and this is from the Blizzard of Oz album. Actually, I had a black car. I was really into black, and on the back of my black car, I had written the Blizzard of Oz. When Ozzy broke away and he formed that band, uh, I was like hooked. I mean, me, my friends, if you were a guitar player, Randy Rhoads was everything. And many people will screw
Yeah.
up because the album cover is very deceptive because it has uh the wrong people on it, because the musicians in the studio was Bob Daisley on
Hmm.
bass and Lee Kersley from Uriah Heep on drums. Everyone thinks it was Tommy Aldridge and Rudy Sarzo,
Hmm.
but the original guys who did Diary of a Madman and Blizzard of Oz, they were kicked out. Sharon was in control of these things, and they hired Tommy Aldridge, great drummer, probably one of the best rock drummers out there. And
He's
Rudy
great.
Sarzo, Randy got him from his days with Quiet Riot. They were all
Yeah.
friends, and you might not know this, but Tommy, Rudy, Randy, they were pretty godly guys. They had a lot of God things going on in their lives, and you could look that up. But anyway, the song I don't know. I think it's an awesome song, and Bob is the bass player, Daisley. He
Bob
wrote all,
Daisley. Yeah.
yeah, he wrote all the lyrics, and
I did not know that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he was the lyricist. Ozzy didn't write any of these songs, as far as I know. But it goes, people look to me and say, "Is the end near? Is this the final day?" I was like, wow. And that's, we see Matthew 24:3. Um, uh, Jesus is sitting on the Mount of Olives with his disciples, and they ask him, "What shall be the sign of thy coming and
Right.
the end of the world?" You know, what's the future of mankind? How do I know I got left behind? Matthew 24:40, which is there shall be two in the field, the one shall be taken, the other left.
Mm.
uh uh you see anything in those words you want to poke out?
Yeah, well, just like what you said in Matthew 24, uh, Mark 13, Luke 21, it's talking about the end. What will the signs be? And Jesus goes through in Matthew 24 the the signs that will be taking place before his coming, before his second coming. So, um, and that will be the signs of the tribulation, things that will be leading up to the tribulation. So, um, wars, rumors of wars, pestilence, earthquakes, um, famines, murder, uprisings, nation against nation, so ethnic groups against that. So we see a lot of that today, with cultural warring going on, black versus white, brown, we see ethnic stuff going on in Israel right now, the Jews versus Palestinians or the Arab communities. So all that will be going on at the time of the end, or the near the time of the end. So we'll see an increase in all that. Um, Earthquakes, like I
Yeah,
said, earthquakes in diverse places. We've seen an increase of earthquakes. So, is the end near? When is the final day? The final day is when Christ comes uh, riding on a white horse, and uh, for that final battle of Armageddon, which is not really a battle at all. It's him against a world of or a group of people that really have no chance against him. So The arrogance and pride of mankind, if they think that they can actually go to war against God, against Christ himself. So, and deception, that's the other thing. What is the end near? Jesus, the first thing out of his mouth says, be sure that no one deceives you. There's going to be a time of great deception, and we see that now. You don't know who you can even trust anymore in the media or politicians or friends. They're
Yeah.
people, you can't trust anybody anymore, and there's going to be great deception, within the church. Things that are being taught that are unbiblical. So so that
Absolutely.
just goes along with that.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, this song is really all about the end of days. That's what it's about. And and the words when Ozzy's singing, don't ask me. I mean, don't look for me for answers. Looking to find
Right.
the truth. Don't look to me. I mean, he's wise to say that because man doesn't have the answers. Hidden meanings that will never show. We know a lot about hidden stuff going on, boy. Wow. That's going to be revealed. Fools and prophets from the past. Life's a stage, and we're all in the cast. Yeah, the world is a stage. It
Yeah.
really is. And I love Ozzy says you got to believe in someone. Okay, asking me who is right, asking me who to follow. Don't ask me. I don't know. But there is someone that you can follow in because he goes. Nobody ever told me. I found out for myself. And you got to do that. I have to do that. We got to find out for ourselves. Okay, what the answer is, and then the words go, you got to believe in foolish miracles. And that makes me think of 1 Corinthians 3:19. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. For it is written, he takes the wise in their own craftiness. It's not how you play the game. It's whether you win or lose. You can choose. Don't confuse. I love that. Joshua 24:15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you're going to serve. And so, Bob Daisley, you did some really great words there. And I think he was using a Bible. I really, uh, uh, because especially as we move on, and he goes, no, win or lose, it's up to you. And it's true. We have to make decisions. We got to
You
make
have to make
choices.
that. Yeah, you have to make that
Yeah.
decision for
Yeah.
sure.
So we're going to go to the next song is going to be Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. And, you would think, okay, this song is like self-explanatory. Is it? Uh, some things that are not true, but some things are. It says, I mean, you know how it starts. There's a lady who's sure that all that glitters is gold. So many of us believe that. People, everything that glitters is gold. We want that. That's going to make us happy. And she's buying a stairway to heaven, but she can't. See, that's one of the things. When she gets there, she knows that the stores are all closed. With a word, she can get what she came for. And what did she come for? And I have as a reference Joel 2:32, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. Uh, what did she go there for? What was the purpose? And then it goes, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure. Romans 4:16 says, therefore it is a faith that might be by grace to the end. The promise might be to all the seed. Not that only which is of the law, but that which is also of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. And Matthew 7:13, enter into the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be that go in. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way that leads unto life, and few there be that find it. So this lady is trying. The words go, cause sometimes words have two meanings, and that makes me think of Matthew 7:13. Again, the straight gate, narrow gate, and the wide gate. Tim, would you see anything you want to add to that?
Um, Wait, this is one of those songs that has always just I never knew exactly where it was going,
I know
what it
you
meant.
really, it
So
is I mean,
yeah,
we don't even know what this lady's deal is. We don't know what's going on in this
yeah.
song, really. Sometimes that is through song words together.
One thing that came to mind is, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. We can't, there's nothing that we can do to earn our salvation. There's no works. There's no way that we can buy our way into heaven. And a lot of people will think, well, I did these good things. I gave money to charity or to the church or whatever. So, when the end comes, you ask them, do you have a good idea of whether you're going to go to heaven? And why should Jesus let you into heaven, or God let you into heaven, when you die? And, well, I was good. I could buy my way in, and we can't. It's a lie. The whole thing is a lie, and it's totally deception. The only way that we can get into heaven is by what Christ did for us on the cross. It was his blood that was shed for the sin of mankind. And all we have to do is believe in what he did it, and it's a free gift. So if we're trying to buy our way into heaven, then it's no longer a gift. It's us trying to, and then it reverts back onto our works and how we try, and we're never good enough. We can't, measure up to God's standard to get into heaven because
Yeah,
he's so holy. But he did provide a way for people to
yeah,
get into heaven, and that was through his son,
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. Wasn't a stairway. There is not a stairway to heaven.
Right.
But there is a highway to hell. I think that's probably more of because there is a broad road that leads there. I
Mhm.
think one of the funniest, well, kind of couple words here makes me wonder. Okay, that's great. But a new day will dawn for those who stand long. Okay, it's kind of positive. I always
Mhm.
love this line here. If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. And it made me think of, in this world, you're going to have tribulations, don't be
Mhm.
freaked out. God said this is how it's going to be. You're going to have a bustle in your hedgerow.
Right.
If I'm reading that right. Uh, and, obviously, here's the big part here. Yes, there are two paths you can go by. Okay. Matthew 7:13. Again, enter the straight gate or the wide gate. There is two
Yep.
roads. Uh, the danger here is, but you still have time.
Yeah.
Well, that's a dangerous thing. A two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the
Change the
road
road.
you are. That's, I
Yep.
mean, as of right now, if you're alive, you have the time.
Amen.
Tomorrow, we don't know if we can do that. Isaiah 55:6 says, Seek ye the Lord while he may be found, call upon him while he is near. Right. You got
Mhm.
anything else, Tim?
No, that's great. That's great. Um, yeah, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
great song.
Yeah.
Uh Words go. That's a long song. I don't know. It's what's like a 7-minute song back in those album rock days. If you listen very hard, the tune will come to you at last. Seek him, you'll find him again. But anyway, we're gonna go. I tell you, we're gonna progress down songs that are really gonna blow your mind because this next one, going back to the Blizzard of Oz, or uh, was this from Diary of a Madman, Revelation, Mother Earth? I forgot.
That
But
I don't remember. Yeah.
okay, but this one here uh, is really Bob Daisley definitely was reading the Bible here. He was getting this out of Revelation, a lot of it. So Ozzy's singing, Mother, please forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that's Jesus says those words in Luke 23:34. Father, forgive them, they know
Father.
not what
Yeah.
they do. Looking back in history books, okay, uh, it seems it's nothing new. I'll let my mother live. They're breaking God's uh hell is for fools. They're breaking God's own rules. I mean, we're not adding that. Bob put that in there. Uh Father of all creation. This is really amazing. I tell you, if I met Bob, I would have to pat him on the back. I think we're all going wrong. Seems to be breaking, and it won't be too long. Gosh, in the twinkling of an eye, Matthew 24:50-51. Children of the future, watching empires fall. Matthew 12:25, Matthew 24, kingdoms, falling and being divided.
Right.
Madness, the cup they drink from. Man, that's today. Self-destruction, the toll. I had a vision. I saw the world burn. I got to read. This is really crazy. I knew where he definitely got this from the Bible source, because Revelation 20, verse 9. Let's see if I could find where I have that there. Um, it speaks about the seas turning to blood, to red, heaven and earth being burnt up. So that's pretty amazing there. You see
Right.
anything else, Tim, there?
Yeah, and I notice a lot of that is uh, he takes analogies or themes, biblical themes, and a lot of this stuff is, this end times destruction, Armageddon type of scenarios that we see in a lot of these metal songs, at least the ones from the 80s. But
The
yeah, the
Final
seas.
Countdown.
Yeah,
But
right. Yeah,
what was that
there's
band?
another one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
Europe.
Europe. Yeah,
Yeah,
Europe.
yeah. So yeah, the seas had turned red. So um, we know that God in one of the judgments during the tribulation will be to uh, turn the seas to blood, and all life in the waters will be dead, and I believe a third of the sea vessels, the ships will cease
Perish.
to
Yeah,
exist,
yeah.
perish. So, and sea life and so on and so forth, as well as fresh water too. So, yeah, so a lot of biblical end times
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
themes here.
Uh, I love that line again. Madness, the cup they drink from. I had a vision. I saw the world burn and the seas turn red. The sky had fallen. The final curtain in the land of dead before it's too late. So they're fighting each other and no one is winning. We must fight all the hate. Wow. Who came to defeat hate and evil and wickedness? We know it's Jesus Christ, the Bible
Right.
says. So now we're going to switch it up. Now we're going to go to, people might say, well, this is not a heavy metal a song, or but it is classic rock, and I think we can say that Heart, they know how to rock, and they had some really great stuff. The two girls, Ann and Nancy, just awesome. It is an awesome band. The old stuff and the new stuff, but this is a song that most people don't know about. I like playing it on the drums. It's called Allies, but Heart by Heart. Uh, Crazy words here, okay? And it starts off with in troubled times, it's hard to get straight answers. Between the lines that border wrong or right, the homeland cries, it struggles with confusion. Wow, guys, I don't know who wrote these words, but you guys are rocking here. Luke 21:25, in troubled times, and there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Uh, uh, they border wrong or right. Proverbs 14:12. There is a way which seems right unto the man, unto men, but the end are the ways of death. It struggles with confusion. Acts 19:29. And the whole city was filled with confusion. Uh, then it goes on, we live on faith, Galatians 3:11, in the hands of those who guide us. We're trusting these leaders, right? That they're guiding us, and we don't know what's coming and everything. And I don't know what side you people out there are on, but we have faith in these people that are supposedly going to guide us, right?
Yeah.
Tim, what do you have
Yeah.
add to that?
I was just looking up to see who wrote it, and it turns out it was Jonathan Cain from Journey, the keyboard
Really?
player from Journey. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
uh,
Cool.
and
He wrote he
he's a
wrote the
Christian
song?
now.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
is?
wrote.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So, um, yeah, in troubled times, it's hard to get straight answers. Between the lines that border wrong or right. The homeland cries, it struggles with confusion, but this real and still remains like the shelter from the rain. Um, it just, in my mind, it seems like in the troubled times that we're in these last days, everything is just the earth is crying out nature itself doesn't, the Lord say even nature itself will cry out, and or something along those lines. I can't remember. But yeah, it just
Groans. It
seems like
groans. Yeah.
it groans, right?
Yeah.
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 So it's like, we see in these last days, everything is, uh, what the Lord would probably call, that everything's dying. The earth is dying. It's decaying. It's, our minds are gone. I'm talking about those of the world, not the believers, and there's all this stuff going on that just leads to these troubled times. And Romans 1, God gives people up to this reprobate, deceptive mind, or gives people over to these evil desires and passions. So people, and so we see earth worship, and the earth is decaying, but we are not to worship the earth. We are to worship God who created these things. And um,
it's actually one of the things he warns about, that in the last days people will love the creation more than the
yeah,
creator.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
amazing. Um, it closes out, allies with our backs against the wall. Yeah, many
Mm,
of us are feeling that. Our backs are against the wall. People are like, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? Um, uh, I will answer when you call and take on the odds for what we believe is true. John 14:6, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through the Son. Allies in a world of too much choice. Wow, that we could go crazy with that one. I only need to hear your voice, Matthew 7:13. Again, straight and narrow gate. And we have a choice. And whose voice are we going to listen to? Hopefully, we're going to listen to the one who made us. We search our hearts. That's great, to justify the reasons. Wow, these are just really good stuff. You listen to the words today. I don't want to go bashing new music, but they got garbage words. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This is some deep stuff here.
yeah.
We search our hearts. Proverbs 16:25. Again, there is a way that seems right unto a man, to justify the reason. If faith is blind, through darkness it will guide us. Wow.
Mm,
That's just Hebrews 11:1. Faith is substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not
right.
seen. You see anything else here, Tim?
Yeah, no, you're right on though. You've got it.
Oh, it even mentions the spirit, because the spirit still remains with the keepers of the flames. Wow. I will answer your call, take on the odds for what we believe is true. Tell me you care. I'll be anywhere for you. And God promises to be, he'll be there for us. If we call on him, uh, he'll be there. And you want to have an ally, why not have the creator
Mm,
as your
yeah,
friend, your ally?
amen.
So now this next song, it's really so crazy. This is After Forever by Sabbath, and I know you guys covered that song. Yeah, it was a perfect song for you guys on the album, The Covering. It was a perfect song to do. It was called out. Do you remember the backstory of doing that song and how that got picked and anything?
I don't know, but I know that Oz, the guitar player for Striper, a lot of us would put in ideas for, what song would you like to do? And I think he came up with this one because he was an Ozzy Osbourne fan and Black Sabbath fan like you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
um, yeah, I think
yeah,
what was this? This was on Master of Reality, if I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Master of Reality, and the backstory I heard about this. I don't know if you could tell me if you heard anything, because Geezer Butler wrote these words, the bass player,
Mm,
and they were trying to, because they're getting a lot of backlash for the cultic dark imagery, and
mm-hmm,
coming to the States, some places wouldn't let them play. They were banned because of all they're devil worshippers or whatever
right.
they call them. And Geezer said, "Look, let's just write a song completely alien to anything." And I tell you, this song, I mean, have you ever thought about your soul? Can it be saved?
Mm-hmm,
Or perhaps that you think that when you're dead, you just stay in your grave. Is God just a thought within your head, or is he part of you? Is Christ just a name that you read in a book when you're in school? Uh, when you think about death, do you lose your breath or do you keep your cool? It speaks about the Pope here. You want to take a couple of those other words there?
Yeah.
As it
Would you like
goes?
to see the Pope on the end of a rope? Do you think he's a fool? uh, uh, well, I have seen the truth. Yes, I've seen the light and I've changed my ways. Um, this is interesting. So
Yeah.
maybe there is a change of heart. If he's speaking of his own experience, and he says, and I'll be prepared when you're lonely and scared at the end of our days. Um, could it be you're afraid of what your friends might say
Wow.
if they knew that you believe, or if they knew you believe in God above? They should realize before they criticize that God is the only way to love. Wow. I mean, that's biblical.
This is crazy stuff. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. This is great. This could be a Christian song. It is a Christian song. It really is. Is your mind so small that you have to fall in with the pack wherever they run? Wow. Thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up here, geezer. Really. And say that you may as well worship the sun, S-U-N. Um, and then, there's no beating around the bush with this song. This is about Jesus Christ, and the truth, because then it goes, I think it was true that was people like you that crucified Christ. I think it's sad the opinion you had was the only one voiced. You take the rest of those words there. Uh,
Let's see.
well, you
Will you be will you be so sure when your day is near? Say you don't believe. You had the chance, but you turned it down. Now you can't retrieve. Well, and that's true. If you have one chance in this life, and once you're dead, you can't go. You can't change.
yeah.
Uh, we have to change our minds or our thinking towards Christ now while we're still here. It says, open your eyes. Let's see. Perhaps you'll think before you say that God is dead and gone. Um, open your eyes, just realize that He's the one, the only one who can save you now from all this sin and hate. Or will you still jeer at all you hear? Yes, I think it's too late.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
That's That's biblical, people. The whole song is a biblical song. Doctrine and theology, true theology is really in there. So, Geezer, I don't know what you were reading or what you were doing and how this song came together, whether it was tongue in cheek, was it a mocking thing, or did you really believe it? I don't know.
yeah.
But just really, really crazy stuff. And how are we doing on time? How much time we got? What are we up to? Okay. Let's we got Highway to Hell, and we also have The Best of Both Worlds by Van Halen. I don't know if we want to save that for another episode. Maybe we're gonna keep it short. We want to drag it out. If you want to hear us, maybe that's a little hanging out a little bait there. Is there anything on Highway to Heaven? Not Highway to Heaven, on Highway to Hell that is biblical and true? And The Best of Both Worlds. This is Van Hagar here. This is when Sammy Hagar, and I think he wrote the words to this song. Uh, Even has some digs here, but some interesting things. Uh, what do you think, Tim?
Yeah. I mean, you want to take Highway to Hell, and I mean,
Okay.
that's,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
yeah,
Let's see.
there's a lot going on in that
Yeah.
song that
Yeah.
we could
Yeah.
probably cover in the next
Yeah.
five,
Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes. So,
Okay. So, season ticket on a one-way ride. Okay. So, this song is a love and easy, living free song, and it's a mentality that many of us have had. Asking nothing, leave me be, taking everything in my stride. Don't need a reason, don't need a rhyme. Ain't nothing I'd rather do. Going down. Well, with that attitude, you are going down. That's where that broad road is going to take you. Party
yeah.
time, my friends are going to be there too.
Yeah.
That's an interesting What do you think about that?
That's the big lie, you know. We're gonna party in hell, you know. That's, you know, I don't want to be with stuffy Christians in heaven. I want to party in hell with my friends, you know. And it's that's the lie. Nobody's going to be able to even see their friends. They're going to be in eternal torment individually. They're not going to have uh, people around them. They're going to be in flame for eternity, constantly thinking about your chances that you could have had to accept the Lord, to believe in the gift of salvation, but you turned it down and chose to go to hell. God doesn't send anybody to hell. We go to hell on our own, by our own choice. And so that's the big lie. And Satan's the great deceiver, the great liar. He comes to murder, to destroy, and his whole purpose is to destroy mankind.
And we see here on this highway to hell, there's no stop signs, no speed limits. Nothing's going to slow me down. And that's the broad road that Jesus talks about. It's a broad road of destruction. There is no stop signs. It's it's the easy road. It's the road that, you know, you go as fast as you want. You do what you want. It's really, you do what you want to do, and you don't care about the consequences. Um, uh, I think who was Bon Scott? Was Bon Scott the one who sung this?
Yeah.
The original singer,
Right.
and that poor guy. He had a rough life, and uh, he was a party animal guy, and I don't know whatever happened with that. But we're gonna let's just quickly, because we want to wrap this up. Let's go over to the best of both worlds real fast.
Right.
Um, a couple things I saw here. I don't know what I've been living on, but it's not enough to fill me up. That's true. This world doesn't have enough to fill you up, and we're always looking for something to fill you up.
For
I
sure.
need more than just words can say. True. That's the truth. Way to go, Sammy Hagar. You see anything else, Tim? You want to add some thoughts there?
Yeah, well, it's what you were just saying, what it says here, you know, there's not enough to fill you up. It's like there's always, you know, you got to have that new car or this new house or whatever, you know, and you keep accumulating, and it's only, you know, it gets to the point where nothing makes you happy. There's nothing brings happiness or joy in this life. You know, money doesn't bring prosperity, doesn't bring happiness and joy. Ultimately, you're still searching inside for something, and that's what we are all searching for is a relationship with God. How do we, you know, everything that God offers is what we're trying to buy and fill that void in our lives with things. And so there's never enough, you know, because it's only temporal. Everything uh, just gets old after a while. You get tired of collecting things, or things become a burden. So that desire to collect things, for instance, sooner or later you realize, wow, I have too many cars. Where am I going to put all my cars? Well, I got to build
Yeah,
another
yeah,
barn, you know, to house
yeah.
my things, you know. And eventually it just ends. You know, you end in the end of your life where you've acquired things possibly, or maybe you don't have anything, but
Yeah.
you are left with that emptiness that only God could fill. So nothing in this life is ever enough unless it comes from the Lord.
I watched a documentary on John Bonham, Led Zeppelin's drummer. I love John Bonham. I'd like to
Mm,
think I probably play more like him than anything else. And you know, he died when I was in high school. It was a big shock. And
mm,
one of the
mm,
things right before he died, this is an interesting little bit of trivia. I guess like Rolling Stone magazine picked like the top 20 drummers for that time period. And number one was Karen Carpenter, and he was number two.
mm.
Uh, and he was furious that even
Yeah,
that
Karen
Karen
Carpenter.
Carpenter actually comment in, like, because he was, how does she number one? And
Yeah.
he was known to say, because he was a big drinker, that he was starting uh, say that everyone's better than him. He couldn't be the best. He started to think he wasn't a good drummer. Everyone's better than me, and this Karen Carpenter thing really got to him. And you know,
Wow.
in this Van Halen song, basically what they're singing about, they want the best of both worlds. What worlds? Heaven and
And hell.
earth.
Yeah.
and hell, but they were talking
Or
about
hell.
earth
Yeah.
here. And you really can't, it's a name, uh, where's that line here? Because he even says, I don't, you don't have to, turn around or be born or hang out to be born again. Tune in
Right.
what this world has to offer. We may never be here again. Well, that's certainly true. We're not going to be
That's
here
true.
again. Uh,
Yeah.
but you can't have, well, I guess you could have the best of both worlds. I mean, you could enjoy your life here, but trying to have them both, leaves, I think of Eddie Van Halen, love Eddie Van Halen. I mean, I was watching a special on all his cars that he had and mansions and all that stuff, but it didn't do him any good now. It's the
Yeah.
poor guy, died young and broke my heart. And none of us think about what's coming in the future. We're all shocked because I think like last year, a whole bunch of Neil Peart died from Rush drummer,
A lot of
Eddie,
people. A lot of people.
a lot of people died. Eddie
Yeah.
Van Halen. These were like, how? And I remember when Neil Peart died, people were like, how could it be? It's impossible. He can't die. He's the professor. He's the best drummer.
Yeah.
And yes, we die. It's appointed unto man once to die, and then after
And
the
the
judgments.
judgment. Yep.
So, Tim, I'll let you take us out here as we wind down, and then I'll have just a quick word.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else you
Well,
wanted to
yeah.
add?
Yeah. I mean, it almost in that sense, you know, some of the song seems like a mockery against Christianity, which it is. But in the end, those who mock God will find out the truth. Unfortunately, we people are going to pass on. It's guaranteed that we're gonna pass, and then you have to uh, face judgment. You're going to have to face the Lord. And so he will say, what have you done with my son? And those who have mocked him, there's going to be judgment. And so before that happens, well, we still have time. It's our desire is that people will come to know the Lord and to know the peace within your soul, knowing that you are saved and that you can have a relationship with the living God, and that you can have peace, knowing that your sins are forgiven through His Son and the work that Jesus did on the cross. So, and all you have to do is believe in what He did. It's a free gift, and that's our desire, is to see people come to know the Lord before
Okay.
it's too late.
Amen. And like that Zeppelin song, "Stairway to Heaven." In the end, there are two roads to go by, and in the end, you got to choose, the road you're on, and choose wisely. So this is the end of the show. We're just throwing it out there. Hit subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. You think, you don't like what we're doing, you do like what we're doing, let us know. And if you want us to continue, obviously you, the audience, determine whether a show continues or not. Nobody follows or subscribes, it'll be the end of it. But we'll see. So I am a wannabe heavy metal drummer, saying goodbye, and still love the music. We're not hating on the music or anything. We're just looking for the virtue in it. And as we found today, there is a lot of virtue. And if you have any songs that you would like us to go through and say, hey, what do you think about these words? Because there's tons of them in the classic rock metal world. We'd love to go through them. You give us a song and we'll go through it. So we're going to say goodbye, Tim, in Arizona. It was great to have you.
Great to be here. Good to see you again, Scott.
Okay. And everybody out there, we hope to see you on the flip side. Take care. God bless.
God bless.